Let me tell you something important. Don't wait for an opportunity, create it. I know that might sound simple, even obvious, but it's a truth that many people miss. They wait. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for the right opportunity. They wait for life to hand them a break. And while they're waiting, time is passing them by. I want you to understand this: nothing happens until you take action. That was a lesson I had to learn, and I want to share it with you. I remember a time when I found myself sitting back thinking if I could just get a break, if only I had the right opportunity. But I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't moving forward. I was waiting for something to change, but I was missing the point. I was missing the truth that life isn't going to wait for you. You have to take action. You have to create the opportunity. And that's what I want you to understand today. Opportunities don't come to those who wait, they come to those who take action. It doesn't matter if you feel ready or if the timing seems perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Life doesn't work that way. What matters is that you take the first step, even if it's uncertain. Because the moment you begin to act, you begin to create. Now, I want you to think for a moment. What do you have right now? What resources, skills, or strengths do you have that you can use to create something for yourself? The truth is, we all have something. You may not see it yet, but it's there. And the sooner you recognize it, the sooner you can start creating the life you want. I know there are people listening right now wondering, but where do I start? How do I create my own opportunities? And I'm here to tell you it starts with deciding to act. That's it. There is no perfect plan. There is no right time. There is only this moment and what you do with it. The first step doesn't need to be grand. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to happen. Think about this: life isn't waiting for you to be perfect before you start. It's waiting for you to get started. To take that first step, however small it may be. The only mistake you can make is to wait. Because while you're waiting, someone else is acting, someone else is creating. And that's the difference. In the next parts of this speech, we'll explore how you can begin creating those opportunities. We'll talk about understanding your current resources, preparing yourself for success, and building the right relationships. We'll discuss how to embrace failure as part of the process and how to stay focused on the long game. We'll talk about the power of consistency and working harder than others. Now let's dive into something important: understanding your current resources. Before you begin creating opportunities, you need to take a hard look at what you have right in front of you. I often hear people say, I don't have the right resources, I don't have the money, the connections, or the skills, but that's just an excuse. You see, we all have something right now, something that can be used to create opportunities. It's not about what you don't have. It's about what you do have and how you can use it. Let me share a story with you. When I first started out, I didn't have a lot. I didn't have fancy equipment, a big network, or even the best education. But I did have something important: the willingness to start with what I had. I remember when I started my first business, I didn't have all the resources others might have had. I didn't have a huge budget to advertise, and I didn't have a large team to help me. But I had my time. I had my energy. I had my ideas. I had my desire to succeed. It's easy to look at what you lack and feel discouraged, but the truth is, everyone starts with something. Maybe it's your time, maybe it's a skill you've developed over the years, maybe it's a connection you've made. The question is not, what don't I have, but rather, how can I use what I have to move forward? Think about it: your current resources don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be big, they just need to be enough to take the first step. That's all you need to begin creating opportunities. Start by recognizing what you already have. Look at your skills, your network, your time, your energy. What is it that you've been overlooking? What have you been taking for granted? The moment you begin to acknowledge your resources, the moment you truly see what you have, you open the door to creating new possibilities. But it doesn't stop there. Understanding your resources also means knowing how to leverage them. Let me give you an example. If you have a skill like writing and you've always loved writing, why not start using it? Write articles, create content, start a blog. Maybe it's not a huge step, but it's a start. You have something that others may not have, and you can start turning it into an opportunity. When I started, I didn't have a grand plan or huge capital, but I had a passion, a strong desire, and the willingness to use what I had, and that was enough to begin. Now, I want you to think about your own resources. Take a moment and really think, what do you have right now that can help you create an opportunity? Is it your knowledge, your time, your ability to connect with people? Whatever it is, start there. Start with what you have, and then begin to use it. Once you've identified your resources, the next step is to realize that resources grow with use. The more you take action, the more resources you'll find. The more you work with what you have, the more it expands. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Start where you are with what you have and keep moving forward. Remember, opportunities don't come to those who wait for them to appear. They come to those who use what they have right here, right now, to create something better. So let's start with this look at what you have right now. Use it, leverage it, and create your own opportunity. This is the first step to taking control of your future. It's not about waiting for the perfect resources. It's about using what you already have to get started. Now that you've recognized your current resources, let's talk about something equally important: preparation. You see, the real magic happens when preparation meets opportunity. But here's the catch: preparation is not just about knowing what to do, it's about being ready to do it when the moment comes. I want to share a story from my own life. Early on, I realized something vital: I wasn't ready for the opportunities that were right in front of me. Sure, I had big dreams, but I didn't have the preparation to back them up. It's like this: if you want to catch a fish, you don't just show up to the lake with no gear. You need the right tools, the right mindset, and the right knowledge. I remember a time when I wanted to start speaking professionally. I knew it was something I loved, something that could change my life, but I wasn't ready. I didn't have the right material, I didn't have the experience, and most importantly, I wasn't fully prepared mentally to put in the work. I could have waited for someone to discover me, to give me the big break, but I soon realized that breaks don't happen without preparation. Opportunity is what you're prepared to receive. I began preparing. I studied, I practiced, I honed my skills. And when the right opportunity came along, I was ready to take full advantage of it. Preparation is what gives you the confidence to step into new situations. It's what transforms your resources into something real. Think about athletes for a moment. Before they step onto the field, they don't just show up and hope for the best. They train, they prepare, they practice until their bodies and minds are ready for the challenge. And you know what? You're no different. Preparation is the foundation that makes everything else work. It doesn't matter how much talent or potential you have. If you don't prepare, you won't be ready when opportunity knocks. So, ask yourself, what can I do today to prepare myself for tomorrow's opportunities? Maybe it's improving a skill you have. Maybe it's learning something new that will make you more valuable. Maybe it's organizing your time and environment so you can be more efficient. Let me give you a simple example. When I first started out, I didn't have the luxury of waiting for big moments. I had to prepare every single day. I read books, I listened to tapes, I practiced my speeches. And when the opportunity came, I didn't waste it. Preparation made the opportunity real. You see, opportunity doesn't just show up, it shows up when you're ready. If you've put in the work, if you've spent the time sharpening your skills and getting your mind right, then when the moment comes, you won't hesitate. You'll step right in. Preparation is your secret weapon. Don't just wait for the perfect opportunity. Get yourself ready, put in the work today, and when opportunity knocks, you'll be standing there, prepared, ready to seize it. It's about being proactive, not reactive. It's about knowing that success isn't just about waiting for things to fall into place. It's about preparing for them to fall into place when they do. Now that we've talked about recognizing your resources and the role of preparation, let's turn our attention to a powerful force: initiative. You see, nothing happens until you take that first step. And more importantly, nothing great happens without consistent action. Taking initiative is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's the difference between simply wishing for success and creating it. I remember a time when I was trying to get my foot in the door of the speaking business. It wasn't easy. There were no guarantees, no clear paths laid out for me. But I knew one thing: I had to take action. The world wasn't going to knock on my door and offer me opportunities. I had to go out and find them myself. At first, it wasn't glamorous. I didn't have an agent or a manager, and I wasn't being booked for big events. But I started with small steps. I called up event organizers. I went to local meetings. I offered my services for free just to get my name out there. And each time I took the initiative to learn something new, to improve, and to take the next step. Here's the point: initiative doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. The conditions are rarely perfect. What you need is the courage to step forward, even if you don't know exactly where it will lead. When you take initiative, you're not waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You're stepping up and creating your own path. Think about this: when you wait for permission, you're giving someone else control of your future. But when you take initiative, you're claiming your future. You're deciding that you're going to make things happen for yourself. Let me tell you something I've learned: action creates momentum. The more you act, the more you move forward. The more you take initiative, the more you see new possibilities. I remember early in my career when I felt like nothing was happening. I was sending letters, making calls, and following up, but it felt like nothing was coming back. But then something magical happened. I kept going. I took initiative each day, no matter how small the task. And little by little, the momentum began to build. One call led to another, one speech led to another, and before long, I was being invited to speak at larger events. Taking initiative means you don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. You go after it. It's about seeing something that needs to be done and doing it without waiting for permission. Whether it's reaching out to potential clients, learning a new skill, or simply taking that first step toward a new goal, taking initiative is what propels you forward. Now, think about your life. What can you do today to take initiative? Is there something you've been putting off? A phone call, a decision, or a goal you've been waiting to pursue? Don't wait any longer. Take action today. It doesn't matter how small the step is, as long as it's a step in the right direction. The beauty of initiative is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't have to have everything figured out to take that first step. In fact, most of the time, the first step is just about starting. The details will come as you move forward. The key is to simply begin. Remember, every successful person you admire didn't get to where they are by waiting for the perfect moment. They took initiative. Even when they didn't have all the answers, they stepped out. They made their own opportunities. So, here's what I want you to understand. The habit of taking initiative will change your life. It will open doors that you didn't even know existed. It will make things happen that you thought were out of your reach. The more you practice taking initiative, the more you'll see how powerful it is. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission. Step forward and create your own opportunities. Let's talk about something that can truly change the course of your life: relationships. Now, I'm not talking about just any relationships. I'm talking about the relationships that matter. The ones that build you up, challenge you, and help you grow into the person you were meant to be. You see, life is about the people you meet along the way, and the connections you make are often the key to unlocking new opportunities. I remember a time early in my career when I realized how important it was to surround myself with the right people. I had a few mentors, people who had been where I was and who were willing to share their knowledge and wisdom with me. But it wasn't just about what they could give me. It was also about what I could learn from them. Every conversation, every interaction was an opportunity to grow. I was soaking up everything I could, and over time, those relationships became a foundation for my success. Now, I want to tell you something. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let that sink in for a moment. If you're surrounded by people who are negative, uninspired, or complacent, it's going to be tough to move forward. But when you surround yourself with people who push you to be better, who challenge your thinking, who believe in your potential, that's when magic happens. It's not just about business connections either. It's about the people you choose to have in your inner circle. I often say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Your relationships can either lift you or drag you down. The right people will inspire you to reach higher, dream bigger, and work harder. They will hold you accountable, support your growth, and be there to celebrate your victories with you. But here's the thing, building these relationships takes time and effort. You have to be intentional about who you spend your time with. You have to go out and seek out people who align with your values, who share your vision, and who will encourage you along the way. And don't be afraid to give back. Building relationships isn't just about what you can get, it's also about what you can offer. Sometimes the best way to build strong relationships is to show up, be genuine, and add value to others. Let me give you a real-life example. In my journey, I had a mentor who taught me more than I could ever repay. But here's what I learned from that relationship. True mentorship is a two-way street. While I was gaining wisdom, I was also offering something in return: my time, my enthusiasm, and my commitment to learning. That balance is what made the relationship strong. It wasn't just about taking, it was about giving. So ask yourself, who are the people in your life right now that are helping you grow? Are you surrounding yourself with people who inspire you? Do they challenge you to be your best? And more importantly, are you contributing to their growth as well? The relationships you build today can shape the path you walk tomorrow. So make them count. Spend time with people who lift you up, challenge you to think differently, and help you stay focused on your goals. Invest in those relationships, and over time, you'll find that the right people will come into your life, and together you'll all rise higher. Remember, it's not just about having a network, it's about having the right network. And that network, those relationships, can open doors, inspire you to new heights, and help you create the life you've always dreamed of. Let's talk about something that many of us fear, In fact, it's often the beginning. It's a sign that you're trying, that you're pushing the boundaries, that you're taking risks and learning in the process. I remember a time early in my career when I took a big risk. I had a vision of what I wanted to achieve, but I didn't have all the answers. I made some big decisions, thinking they would lead me directly to success. But they didn't. I failed. Hard. It was tough. The rejection, the setbacks, the feeling of defeat, it all hit me like a ton of bricks. But you know what? I didn't give up. In fact, that failure became one of the most powerful lessons of my life. I realized that failure isn't something to avoid, it's something to embrace. Every time I failed, I learned something new. Every setback was a lesson in perseverance, in creativity, and in the ability to adapt. Failure showed me where I was weak and gave me the chance to get stronger. Here's the key: failure is not something that defines you. It's simply a part of the process. When you try new things, when you step out of your comfort zone, you will fail. But if you're smart about it, if you learn from each failure, it will ultimately bring you closer to success. The important thing is to keep moving forward, no matter how many failures you encounter. The greats don't avoid failure, they embrace it, they learn from it, and they keep going. Think about the most successful people you know. I guarantee that they have failed more times than they'd like to admit. But they didn't let failure stop them. Instead, they used it as fuel for their journey. They understood that every failure was an opportunity to get better, to refine their approach, and to learn something new. The key is to keep failing forward. Here's the truth: you will never create something amazing if you're afraid of failing. Whether it's building a business, learning a new skill, or pursuing a dream, failure is a necessary part of the equation. Without it, there's no growth, no progress. It's like trying to build a muscle without ever lifting anything heavy. You wouldn't get stronger. But with each failure, with each attempt, you build resilience, and you get better. So when you face failure, and you will remember this, it's not the end of the road. It's just a bump in the journey. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep going. Every failure is a lesson in disguise, a step forward, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what can I learn from my past failures? What lessons have they taught me? And how can I use those lessons to create something even greater moving forward? The road to success isn't a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and detours, and sometimes it's paved with failures. But that's what makes success so sweet. Because when you've failed and you get back up, you're stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's next. So don't be afraid to fail. Embrace it. Use it. And remember, failure is not a defeat. It's just part of the process of creation. Let's take a moment to reflect on something that will truly determine your success in life: staying focused on the long game. In today's world, everything is fast-paced. We want results now, not later. We've become conditioned to expect instant gratification. But I'll tell you, this true success is not about quick wins, it's about the long game. It's about patience, persistence, and unwavering focus on what really matters. I remember a time when I was chasing every opportunity that came my way. I wanted to grow fast, expand quickly, and see results overnight. But what I didn't understand back then was that success isn't about racing to the finish line. It's about taking consistent, deliberate steps toward your goals day after day, year after year. You see, most people give up too soon. They start with excitement, they give it their all for a few weeks, a few months, and when they don't see the results they expected, they quit. But here's the truth: success is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about putting in the effort every single day, even when you don't see immediate rewards. It's about trusting the process, knowing that the work you do today will pay off tomorrow, next year, or even a decade from now. Let me tell you something I've learned over the years: patience is a key ingredient in success. You have to be willing to play the long game, to stick to your plan, even when it feels like progress is slow. There will be times when it feels like you're not moving forward at all, when your efforts seem invisible. But if you stay committed, if you keep showing up day after day, you'll eventually see the results you've been working for. It's like planting a tree. You don't see it growing every day, but over time it begins to take root, and eventually it grows into something strong, tall, and beautiful. Think about some of the most successful people in history. None of them reached the top overnight. They didn't get there by making a few quick decisions or taking shortcuts. They got there by staying focused on their vision and continuing to move forward, step by step, despite the obstacles in their way. They knew that success didn't come fast, and they embraced the process. Now, this doesn't mean you should ignore the opportunities that come your way. It's about balance. You need to recognize when to pivot, when to adjust, and when to seize a new opportunity. But at the core, you must keep your eye on the bigger picture. Ask yourself, what's my ultimate goal? What is the vision I have for my life? And how can I stay focused on that, no matter what distractions come my way? And here's the truth about distractions: they are everywhere. Life is full of them. Opportunities to take shortcuts, to go after the quick fix, to follow the latest trend. But none of those distractions will bring you the lasting success you're after. If you want to achieve something meaningful, something that truly matters, you have to block out the noise and focus on your long-term vision. Stay the course. Keep your eyes on the prize. When I think about my own journey, there were plenty of moments where it seemed like the road was too long, too difficult. But every time I stayed focused on the long game, I found that the effort was worth it. Even the hardest days, the toughest challenges, they all served a purpose. They all led me to where I am today. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. What's your long game? What's the vision you have for your life? And more importantly, are you willing to stay focused on it, no matter how many distractions or setbacks you face along the way? The key to success is consistency. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work, even when it feels like the results aren't coming as quickly as you'd like. Keep taking those small steps toward your big goals. And remember, it's not about how fast you get there, it's about getting there with purpose, with patience, and with perseverance. The long game isn't easy, but it's worth it. Because when you stay focused on the bigger picture, when you trust the process, you'll find that success doesn't come overnight, but when it comes, it will be so much sweeter. In this journey of creation and success, one thing is clear: you must be willing to work harder than others. Now, I know that might not sound appealing at first. It's easy to think that success should come without struggle, that it should just fall into place, that things should be smooth sailing. But the truth is, it doesn't work that way. Success is earned, and the path to it requires effort, dedication, and sometimes a lot of hard work. When I first started, there was nothing glamorous about it. I didn't have the resources, the connections, or the recognition that some people might have. What I did have, though, was an unshakable determination to put in the work. I remember staying up late at night, working when others were sleeping, trying to learn, to grow, to improve. And let me tell you, that effort was the difference between success and failure. There's something special about outworking the competition. It's not just about working harder physically, but mentally as well. It's about showing up day after day, doing what others aren't willing to do. It's about making sacrifices in the short term to secure long-term success. While others might take shortcuts, look for easy answers, or wait for the perfect moment, you must be willing to put in the time and the effort, even when it seems like there's no immediate reward. But here's the key: working harder isn't about simply doing more. It's about doing what others are unwilling to do and doing it consistently. There's a big difference between hard work and smart work, and both are essential to success. But you cannot overlook the power of relentless effort. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when it feels like the mountain is just too high. But remember this: the people who are willing to work harder, to put in the extra hours, are the ones who break through. Think about the most successful people you admire. They didn't get there by taking it easy, by choosing the path of least resistance. They got there by putting in the extra effort, by making sacrifices, and by consistently pushing themselves to do what others wouldn't. It's easy to look at someone's success and think they've got it made, that they were lucky, or that things just came easy. But I guarantee you, behind every success story is a lot of hard work. I often think of the early days of my career. There were so many moments when I could have taken the easy route. I could have stopped, made excuses, or chosen to rest. But I didn't. I kept pushing. I kept grinding. And that hard work paid off, not overnight, but in time. Now, don't get me wrong. Hard work isn't about working yourself into the ground. It's about smart, focused effort. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when you're tired, even when the going gets tough. It's about showing up when nobody else is showing up. That's what separates the winners from the ones who just talk about winning. And here's the thing: when you're willing to outwork everyone else, you gain momentum. It becomes a snowball effect. The more effort you put in, the more you achieve, and the more success you create. But it starts with that willingness to put in the work. It starts with deciding that you're going to do whatever it takes. Ask yourself, am I willing to work harder than others? Am I willing to do what others won't? When you make that decision, you open the door to opportunities that wouldn't have been available otherwise. The work you put in today will pave the way for your success tomorrow. So stay committed, keep working. And remember, the road to success isn't paved with shortcuts, it's paved with hard work, perseverance, and an unwavering commitment to doing what others won't. Success doesn't come to the lazy, the uncommitted, or the ones who wait for the perfect moment. It comes to the ones who are willing to put in the work, day in and day out, without looking for an excuse to stop. If you want to create something great, you must be willing to work harder than anyone else. Now let's talk about something that's critical to long-term success, the ability to stay adaptable to changing circumstances. Life is constantly changing. The world around us is evolving, sometimes at a pace we can't predict. What works today may not work tomorrow. The challenges you face today might look completely different than the ones you'll face tomorrow. But here's the truth: if you're not adaptable, you'll be left behind. Adaptability is one of the most important qualities you can develop. You see, it's easy to become comfortable with the way things are. You find a rhythm, a system that works, and you stick to it. But what happens when the unexpected comes along? What happens when circumstances change, when the market shifts, or when the people around you change? If you're not adaptable, you'll struggle. You'll be stuck in the past, trying to make what worked yesterday work today. One of the most important lessons I've learned in my journey is the power of being flexible, of adjusting my approach when the situation requires it. I remember times in my career when things seemed to be going perfectly. Everything was clicking, and I thought I had it all figured out. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. And if you're not ready to adjust, you'll miss those opportunities. Let me tell you, change is inevitable. The question is not whether things will change, but whether you will adapt when they do. If you're stuck in your ways, if you refuse to adjust, you're going to find yourself in a place where you're no longer moving forward. But if you're willing to be flexible, to try new things, and to learn from your experiences, you'll not only survive change, you'll thrive in it. Think about it this way: success is not about avoiding change, it's about embracing it. It's about recognizing that change can be a powerful force for growth if you're willing to evolve with it. The businesses, the people, the strategies that thrive are the ones that are constantly adjusting, constantly refining, constantly looking for ways to improve. In my own life, I've had to adapt more times than I can count. The first, I've had to pivot in the face of challenges, shift my approach when things weren't working, and even let go of strategies that were once effective but no longer served me. It wasn't easy, and it didn't always feel comfortable. But every time I embraced change, I found new opportunities that I wouldn't have discovered if I'd stayed stuck in my old ways. One of the most important things you can do is keep learning. The more you learn, the more adaptable you become. Knowledge gives you the ability to see the world in new ways, to think critically, and to act decisively. And when you have that kind of insight, you can adapt to almost any situation that comes your way. It's not about having all the answers, but about being open to new ideas and solutions. And here's the key to staying adaptable: don't get too attached to your own way of doing things. Yes, you might have a system that works, and yes, that system may have brought you success. But success today doesn't guarantee success tomorrow. The world changes, and so must you. You have to be willing to ask yourself, is this still the best way? And be open to change when necessary. You see, it's not about knowing everything. It's about being open to the idea that you don't know everything. And that's okay. The most successful people I know are the ones who are always learning, always growing, and always willing to change direction when the situation calls for it. Let's think about some of the most innovative companies in the world, like Apple or Amazon. These companies didn't get to where they are today by holding on to the same strategies, products, or approaches that worked in the past. They adapted, they evolved, and they kept up with the times. That's why they're leaders in their industries. Now, you may not be running a billion-dollar company, but the principle still applies to your personal and professional life. Adaptability is the secret to staying relevant. When you can adjust to the changing circumstances around you, you not only survive the changes, you thrive in them. Ask yourself this: how willing am I to adapt? Am I holding on too tightly to old habits, old systems, or old ways of thinking? Or am I open to change, to new opportunities, and to learning from every experience? When you stay adaptable, you give yourself the freedom to grow, to evolve, and to keep moving forward, no matter what life throws your way. And that's the key to lasting success. Let me ask you a question: what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who fall short? The answer is simple yet powerful: consistency. It's the ability to show up day after day, no matter what, that creates success over time. Success is not about making big, bold moves every now and then. It's about showing up consistently, doing the little things and doing the well. It's about turning small actions into habits that accumulate into something much greater over time. We live in a world that's obsessed with the quick fix. People want instant results, instant gratification, and they're often disappointed when success doesn't come overnight. But here's the truth: lasting success doesn't happen in a flash. It's not about one big moment or one big decision, it's about what you do consistently over time. That's the secret to achieving anything you want in life. I can tell you from personal experience that consistency is what made all the difference in my journey. There were no overnight successes for me. It was about showing up every day, even when I didn't feel like it, even when I didn't see immediate results. It was about doing the work consistently, even in the face of adversity. The small actions I took every day, no matter how insignificant they seemed at the time, added up to something monumental over time. Let's think about something as simple as a tree. A tree doesn't grow tall and strong overnight. It starts with a seed, something small and almost insignificant. But that seed over time grows. It gets watered, it gets sunlight, it faces challenges like storms and harsh weather, but it continues to grow steadily and consistently. And after years of consistent growth, it becomes a mighty tree. Success is just like that tree. It's about the steady growth over time. The small, consistent efforts that compound into something remarkable. This is why consistency is so powerful. It's the power behind every great success story. It's not about how hard you work in one burst. It's about how hard you work over the long haul, day after day, week after week, month after month. It's about developing the discipline to keep moving forward, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Now, don't get me wrong. Consistency doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over without learning or adjusting. It's about keeping the effort steady while being open to improvements and adjustments along the way. Consistency means showing up, but it also means showing up with intention. You must always be learning, always refining, always striving to do better. But the key is to do it every day. There are times when it feels like progress is slow, or when you can't see the results right away. That's where many people give up. They think they're not making progress, so they quit. But here's what they don't realize: the results are coming. Every effort, every small action you take is adding up. The effort you put in today might not show results tomorrow, but over time, those actions will accumulate, and you'll see just how far you've come. I think about this often in terms of personal development. Many people want to change their lives, but they expect to see change in a matter of weeks or months. But real transformation doesn't happen that quickly. It happens over the course of years through consistent small actions. If you're consistent in your habits, consistent in your mindset, and consistent in your work ethic, your life will change, and it will change dramatically. One of the best examples of the power of consistency is in fitness. A person doesn't get fit by working out once or twice a month. They get fit by consistently working out week after week, month after month. At first, the changes are slow and almost invisible, but over time, their body transforms because of the consistent effort. The same principle applies to success in every area of your life. It's the consistent actions over time that lead to transformation. Consistency also builds momentum. Have you ever noticed that when you consistently work on something, it starts to feel easier? That's because momentum is a powerful force. Once you've built it, it's much easier to keep going. But you have to build it first. That means showing up every day, even when it's hard. And once you've built that momentum, success becomes almost inevitable. If you want success, if you want to create something great, you need to commit to consistency. Don't wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect conditions. Just start and keep showing up. The results will come, but they will only come if you stay consistent. And when you do, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Success is built one day at a time, one action at a time. And the power of that consistency is what will turn your dreams into reality. As we come to the end of this journey, there's one more critical element of creating success that I want to share with you. And that element is patience. I know patience might not sound like the most exciting thing to talk about. We're living in a world that's all about instant results, instant gratification, and the desire to see things happen as quickly as possible. But here's the thing: true success, the kind that lasts, requires patience. The kind of success that's built to stand the test of time doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and above all, patience. You see, when you're working towards something meaningful, something truly worth creating, you're often not going to see immediate results. The work you put in today might not show up tomorrow, and that's okay. In fact, it's normal. In the process of creation, you'll encounter obstacles, challenges, and moments of doubt. You might even wonder if you're on the right path. But the key is to keep going, to trust the process, and to have the patience to see things through, even when the rewards are not immediately apparent. Think about it like this: creation is like planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't expect it to grow into a tree overnight. You water it, nurture it, and give it the right conditions to thrive. But even with the best care, it takes time. That seed doesn't sprout immediately. It takes time to break through the soil and begin to grow. And when it does, it takes even more time to grow strong and tall. Success works the same way. It's not an overnight process, but one that builds gradually, day by day, action by action. One of the hardest parts of creating success is the waiting. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see the results as quickly as you want. But here's the truth: patience is the secret weapon of the successful. It's the ability to keep moving forward when things are tough, to keep pushing when the rewards aren't yet visible. And that patience, combined with the consistency we talked about earlier, is what will carry you through to the finish line. In my own journey, there were many times when it felt like nothing was happening. I would put in hours of hard work, but the results weren't showing up the way I had hoped. And it was tempting to quit, to walk away, or to get distracted by something else. But I had learned a valuable lesson along the way: patience is key. I had learned that success doesn't come in an instant, and that the wait, though difficult, was worth it. It was all part of the process. You see, the process of creation is never a straight line. There are ups and downs, moments of progress and setbacks. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward your goal. And with patience, you begin to see the progress more clearly. The tree that once seemed impossible to grow is now towering above you with roots that are deep and branches that are strong. And you realize that all those years of waiting, all those moments of uncertainty, were worth it. Patience is what allows you to weather the storms. It's what keeps you going when things get tough, when challenges arise, and when the results seem far away. It's the quiet strength that allows you to stay committed to the long-term vision, even when the short-term results aren't showing up as fast as you'd like. And when you have that patience, you can endure anything that comes your way. So as you continue on your journey of creation, remember this: success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And in that marathon, patience will be your greatest ally. It will help you stay focused, stay determined, and keep your eyes on the prize even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Patience doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means continuing to move forward, continuing to work, continuing to believe in the process, even when the results aren't visible yet. And when you have patience, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Let me leave you with this final thought: great things take time. Keep working, keep creating, and keep trusting the process. With patience, you will not only reach your goals, you'll surpass them. And when you look back at all you've created, you'll understand why patience was the key all along.